I have had workforces made up of boomers, Gen Xers, Gen Yers, and Gen Zers. I have seen very hard workers. I've also seen not hard workers. When you're discussing generations, I think there's this proclivity that we have to refer to everyone who is younger than us as millennials. It's very easy to be negative toward millennials until you realize that you are one, and then you probably think they're not that bad. Most leaders are dealing with a team at least partially comprised of millennials. Every generation looks at the next generation as being somewhat lazier than they are, maybe more narcissistic, not as hardworking. I think that's something that's just going to happen. Baby boomers, anyone born from 1946 to 1964, also called the me generation. They were termed as extremely narcissistic, pretty much have that exact same perspective about millennials and Gen Zers. Millennials were raised by baby boomers, partially Gen Xers, and Gen Zers were going to be raised by Gen Xers and millennials. My kids are in Generation Alpha. I assume that the millennials and the Zoomers are going to look at Generation Alpha and say, boy, they are completely lazy. We'll look at the generations before them as being uptight, overly strict, set in their ways. Any stereotypes you get are rooted in some sort of truth. That doesn't mean that everyone meets those stereotypes. Millennials and Gen Zers have been the most driven individuals I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I've watched younger millennials and Gen Zers push themselves to accomplish things their parents and their parents' parents did not accomplish because they are uniquely positioned to be able to be the first in their family to do this thing. They are not letting the past define them. When I was graduating high school and getting ready to go into college, it was an expectation that every single person in my high school class would go to college. And those who were not going to college right away, who didn't get a scholarship, I think they were looked down on. I have worked with many people who don't have college degrees and they are still very successful. I have pushed organizations to hire people without a college degree. This position requires someone with at least a bachelor's degree. And I have hired people who don't have a bachelor's degree because they are hard workers. Many times I've hired someone in and they're still working on their degree. I'm very thankful I have a degree, but I didn't have to get my degree to know what I was passionate about.